Good evening. You're watching the news on Croatian television. Due to poor weather conditions, only one boat sailed out to the middle of the Savudrije Bay this morning. The Croatian fisherman was escorted by a Croatian police boat, but a Slovenian fisheries inspector and Slovenian police warned him he was in Slovenian waters. Regardless, the fisherman set his nets and said he would pull them on Wednesday when the weather improves. Meanwhile, Slovenian President Borut Pahor is in Brussels to discuss the ongoing border dispute with the presidents of the European Commission and the European Council. Slovenia expects the European Commission to pressure Croatia into implementing the controversial arbitration court ruling that awarded Slovenia territorial gains in Savudrije Bay.
The Commission position, I think it's very clear. We have reiterated since last July the need for the implementation of this arbitration tribunal award. We continue to stand ready to offer our good offices and facilitate the two member states so that they can agree as soon as possible on a constructive and expedient process that would settle this issue once and for all. This is our position. It hasn't changed.
Božo Petrov, the president of the Most Party, has called on the government to declare an exclusive economic zone along Croatia's Adriatic coast. According to the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, exclusive economic zones give states special rights over the exploration and use of marine resources. The European Commission also supports the establishment of economic zones, saying they benefit sustainability and spatial planning policies, which in turn attract investments and further economic activities.
This isn't only about fishing quotas. This is about protecting the environment and our rich maritime archaeology. This is about protecting our natural resources from exploitation. Croatia must declare an exclusive economic zone. This must be done regardless of the ongoing border dispute with Slovenia or any other unresolved disputes on any given subject.
The president of the Živi Zid activist party, Ivan Vilibor Sinčić, commented today on his party's increased popularity after overtaking the Most Party for third place in the latest approval ratings. He also gave his opinion on why he thinks the government is slow to implement reforms.
I don't expect the government to implement reforms, especially not real reforms. They'll probably change some laws affecting civil society, just like they did to the tax system, and call them reforms. The main obstacles for reforms is the system itself that surrounds the HDZ and SDP. So much power, privilege, and influence surrounds them that they have no interest whatsoever in losing all that they've gained.
The Croatian Farmers Association has given their support to the government's proposed law on state-owned farmland. The association welcomed the sweeping changes, adding that the new legislation will help keep young farmers in Croatia by providing them with land and a sustainable livelihood.
Small family-run farms, and especially young people, were previously unable to acquire prime agricultural land. But now, with this new legislation, they will be given priority ahead of big companies and major corporations. They will be put at the front of the line when it comes to getting state-owned agricultural land.
A 4-year-old girl is recovering in hospital after undergoing a heart transplant over the weekend. Dr. Ante Čorušić, the director of the University Hospital Center in Zagreb, where the procedure took place, said they were one of only 90 institutions around the world to conduct heart transplants for children.
Today, the situation is more stable than it was yesterday. The child has been taken off a ventilator and she's feeling fine, and we believe that she will be all right. But from the outset, I must say that we had to subdue our euphoria regarding this situation because it is a very complex procedure and unforeseen complications can arise at any time.
In other news, the presidency of the HDZ party in Bosnia and Herzegovina and the Croatian National Assembly met in Mostar to discuss changes to the country's election laws prior to general elections in October.
Our suggestions will not lead to anybody accusing us of wanting to divide Bosnia and Herzegovina. Every suggestion we make is exclusively for the strengthening of Bosnia and Herzegovina. We want to ensure the absolute equality of the three constituent nations and their legitimacy toward representation within the institutions of Bosnia and Herzegovina.
Advent, the month-long Christmas celebration, came to a close yesterday in Zagreb. After reclaiming the title of the best Christmas market in Europe for the third year in a row, Zagreb saw nearly 25% more visitors than last year, as more than 110,000 people flocked to the Croatian capital. Taking a quick look at sports, in tennis at the WTA tournament in Hobart, Tasmania, Croatia's Donna Vekic will face Marketa Vondrushova of the Czech Republic for a spot in the quarterfinals, after defeating Tatiana Maria of Germany in straight sets. While at the WTA tournament underway in Sydney, Australia, Mirjana Lucic-Baroni handed her match to Petra Kvitova of the Czech Republic after retiring in the second set due to injury. And in NBA basketball, Croatia's Dragan Bender had the best game of his young career last night. The 20-year-old forward had 20 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, and 3 blocks as his Phoenix Suns beat the Oklahoma City 114-100. And the weather forecast for tomorrow calls for partly to mostly cloudy skies with rain in places during the afternoon. The Adriatic coast can expect heavier rain showers and thunderstorms, especially in the north, including Gorski Kotar and Lika. Meanwhile, the far east of the country will be dry. Morning fog is expected around bodies of water and low-lying areas of the continent during the morning. A strong to gale force southeasterly wind on the coast will lose strength throughout the day and into the evening. Morning lows of 3 to 7 degrees inland and from 10 to 15 on the coast will give way to highs of 8 to 13 inland and from 12 to 17 degrees Celsius on the coast and islands. The 3-day forecast calls for cloudy skies in the interior with isolated showers on Wednesday. Heavier rains are expected in mountainous areas and parts of the Dalmatian hinterland. Winds on Thursday will turn and come out of the northeast, bringing a drop in temperatures. Higher elevations could see sleet and snow. The Adriatic coast will also be cloudy on Wednesday. Rain and thunderstorms are expected in central areas of the coast. A southeasterly wind will turn on Wednesday and come out of the northwest. A northeasterly will begin blowing on Thursday and gain strength, especially along the northern coast. A fall in temperatures will coincide with the lack of southeasterly winds after midweek. And that brings us to the end of our program. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again tomorrow night.